to right towards the Kop end, which is where a huge mass of home supporters are housed. Lots of fans making their way back to their seats very early in this second half. 3,000 plus very disappointed Rotherham fans behind the Leppings Lane end goal to our left-hand side. In the Premier League, they're underway at Villa Park, at the Amex, and at Anfield. West Ham 0, Everton 0, the latest in the 1 o'clock kick-off. England 42 for 4 against India at the Cricket World Cup, chasing 230. We've got Gallagher Premiership Rugby, don't forget, as soon as we're done here at Hillsborough. And that is followed by back-to-back commentaries from the EFL. On TalkSport right now, the Sunday session is at Old Trafford, and they're building up to the Manchester derby, as well as bringing you all the goals as they go in. Rotherham have a throw on the far side very early in the second half. It's deep inside Sheffield Wednesday territory as they look to find a route back into the game. Long throw into the penalty area from Peltier, in towards Onyedinma, back into the box by Thierry, half cleared away by Sheffield Wednesday. Eventually Byers scoops it long up towards the halfway line, and 2-goal Michael Smith, who's been the hero against his former club so far, wins Sheffield Wednesday a free kick just shy of halfway. The referee's going to ask Sheffield Wednesday to take it again, and it's a yellow card for Christ Thierry for not backing away the full 10 yards. I'll give you the two sides in full in just a moment, but alongside me here at Hillsborough on your home of the EFL TalkSport 2 is the former Sheffield United women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, and Wednesday, good value for their 2-0 lead, Courtney.
Yeah, and Smith straight back into it again in this second half. I like the way that he's not just got his 2 goals, his all-round play, his hold-up play has been excellent, and there you see Morrison's having to drag him down to even try and get anywhere near the ball.
Smith's downward header towards Patterson, right-hand edge of the penalty area, hooks in the cross, and it's gathered by Johansson, all in black, the Rotherham goalkeeper. Sheffield Wednesday then, with Dawson in goal, Iorfa, Diaby and Bernard the defenders, Patterson and James the wing-backs, Byers and Bannon in midfield, Windass and Musaba, who've both been excellent in support of the 2-goal man Michael Smith. And Rotherham, no changes at half-time, though they did make a substitution in the first half just 25 minutes in, hasn't really worked for them. Johansson is the goalkeeper, and then Lembekissa the right wing-back, Revan, who came on, the left wing-back, with Peltier, Morrison and Bramall the centre-halves, Thierry, Rathbone and Cafu in the middle, and Onyedinma and Hugill up front. I can see both head coaches at the foot of this main south stand. A steep drop from our commentary position at the very back. We are right on the halfway line. Matt Taylor has his arms folded, the Rotherham manager, and in his tracksuit, Danny Röhrl, the youngest boss in the EFL, heading for his first victory in charge of Sheffield Wednesday. 3 minutes into the second half, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Rotherham United 0. Head tennis on the halfway line on a sunny afternoon at Hillsborough, but a little chillier now. Hooked over his shoulder by Patterson down the middle. Chasing was Smith, but it's an easy back header from Morrison into the gloves of his goalkeeper Johansson. And now Rotherham will look to build again. First meeting between these two since February of 2022. Of course, while Rotherham were surviving in the Championship last season, Sheffield Wednesday went on to earn promotion in dramatic fashion via the League One playoffs. Forward by Bannon, floated high crossfield from left to right. A decent ball, Smith chasing after it, a willing runner, herring towards it with Bramall at his back, and Bramall did just enough to force the error from Smith, and that's a throw to Rotherham United in their left-back position, playing from right to left towards the west stand. And the referees come across the near side. A quick word from the fourth official, it looks like here, who is Rebecca Welch. I'm not sure whether the referee had dropped something possibly, but something's been given back to the referee. Is it the vanishing spray, maybe?
Yeah, I think they've maybe swapped it over. He's not used it too much today, so I don't know why it's empty.
Not at all. Maybe that was the one from the last game or something.
Maybe.
Anyway, all is resolved pretty quickly. Barry Bannon's going to tie his laces in the middle of the field. Sheffield Wednesday will take a throw. What will have been the message from Danny Röhrl, do you think, at half-time?
More of the same. I think obviously they'll want to be a little bit more clinical. Could have had 4 goals, and that's not an exaggeration, but keep it tight at the back. Don't get too carried away. They know that there's going to be a reaction, or at least there should be, from Rotherham in this second half, and I think initially it's the first 10 minutes just to keep it calm, cool and collected, and then you can build yourself again into the game. But there'll be a lot of praise and saying, look, more of the same, you've done really well, but it's only half done.
Lots of Sheffield Wednesday flags all around the ground on this lovely sunny autumn afternoon. Long ball, raking ball down the Rotherham right-hand side towards Onyedinma. Across came the much taller and stronger Bambo Diaby, who's then bundled over by Onyedinma, and that's a free kick to Sheffield Wednesday. There must be over 30,000 here at Hillsborough today. An excellent crowd and an excellent travelling support as well, and you have to feel for the Rotherham fans because their last away win was in the city of Sheffield. It was at Sheffield United in November of last season, so very nearly a year without an away win for the Millers. Long from Dawson, the Sheffield Wednesday number one, high up into Rotherham territory, headed away by Sean Morrison. The loose ball retrieved by Rathbone, who'll roll it back to the goalkeeper Johansson. Johansson scoops it high and long himself up towards Hugill. Header away by Bernard, going over the top of Hugill. Then it's scooped downfield by Rathbone again. Anya Didman will chase. It's all rather agricultural in a footballing sense in this first 6 minutes of the second half. Sheffield Wednesday lead 2-0.
Yeah, and I think that's what's probably the expectation from Wednesday, that there's going to be a little bit of reaction from Rotherham. That's, they're going to be slightly more aggressive, try and get themselves on the ball, try and win it back more quickly, but it's about riding that storm for 10 minutes. Once you've done that, you can then start to play again.
Here come Sheffield Wednesday with Iorfa surging forward down the near side of the right, galloping into Rotherham territory. Back he goes Iorfa, the tall centre half, to find Byers. Out to the right and Patterson steers it forward to Windass. Tattoos down his arms. Back to Patterson, into Masaba. Good quick football from Sheffield Wednesday. Bannon floats it high. James far post just couldn't leap enough to reach it. Applauds the intent from Bannon. Excellent football from Sheffield Wednesday as Everton take the lead away at West Ham in the Premier League. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has got that goal. West Ham 0, Everton 1. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday against Rotherham here. Sheffield Wednesday appear to have finally found some confidence, Courtney.
Yeah, and it's the right idea from Barry Bannon. I think James, he just needs to hold his run for a little bit longer because he ends up getting caught under the ball. If he almost starts wider, holds the run and then comes onto the ball, he'd have been better off. But it's the right idea, and Barry Bannon, as we used to see, and starting to pull the strings again.
Rotherham yet to have a serious effort on goal, and Windass has gone for it from range, and he's hit it just wide. An inspired effort from Josh Windass after an error from Cohen Bramall, 35-40 yards out. Goalkeeper was backpedaling. Windass went for it from a long way out. I'm sure, like all of us, he was watching that Harry Kane goal from yesterday. It wasn't quite centre circle, but it was a heck of a long way out. And I tell you what, had it been on target, I don't think Johansson would have got there. No,
it's certainly not a bad effort at all. He brings it down on his chest extremely well, the control, and it just sits up lovely. Has obviously seen Johansson outside of his goal, and as you mentioned, Joe, I think if that's on target, it goes in. But unfortunately for Windass, it was just wide of the post.
Wouldn't have quite been David Beckham, Wayne Rooney or Harry Kane-esque, but it would have been a stunning goal as Anya Didma wins a free kick, wrestled to the ground by Diaby, midway inside the Sheffield Wednesday half, slightly right of centre. Ironic cheers from the away supporters, and Rotherham will be able to send the likes of Peltier and Morrison forward for this, and set pieces proved a fruitful route to goal for them in their home win over Coventry midweek. At home, Rotherham are a different kind of proposition altogether.
Yeah, they are, and this is where Sheffield Wednesday, they've got to be really aware of obviously the threats that Rotherham carry, and just not being silly. You're 2-1 up, 2-0 up, sorry, rather, so far. You're cruising. You don't want to then let Rotherham back into the game with a silly goal and giving away needless free kicks, so they need to defend this really well to keep their momentum going.
Well, it's Cafu, the former Nottingham Forest man, the set-piece specialist, who's standing over the ball. Got rid of his gloves for the second half. Rotherham attacking the Sheffield Wednesday penalty area. Floated in high by Cafu into the sun. Jumping is Morrison. He headed it across the edge of the penalty area rather than towards goal. And it's steered upfield by Reece James, brought down neatly by Bannon, who turns away from Lembikissa. Excellent poise from Bannon, but his pass forward didn't reach Masaba. It was intercepted by Lembikissa. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. 9 minutes played in the second half so far. Sheffield Wednesday started the day 11 points from safety. Good juggling by Patterson on the ball, and he's got it back and he's pushed it up to Smith. Smith with his back to goal, tackled by Thiehi. Bramall should roll it back to the goalkeeper here. I don't think Bramall knew that Windass was right behind him. Rather casual, nonchalant ball back to the goalkeeper. Johansson was able to clear, and Rotherham have got to go up through the gears if they're to stand any chance of getting back into the game. And Danny Röhrl, it's great to watch him down at the base of this main stand, kicking every ball on the touchline, the Sheffield Wednesday boss.
Yeah, he's loving it, isn't he, what he's seeing from his team, but he's getting involved, clapping when they do something right, and it's just constant communication. It's interesting, some people, or some players rather, take notice of that. I was one that always tried to switch off what the manager says, positive or negative, so it's easier not to get involved, but he's certainly giving his instructions out.
He certainly is. I don't know whether he can be heard at times amid the 30,000 in the stadium. And Sheffield Wednesday clear through Reece James, only his second league start of the season so far, the former Blackpool man who joined on a permanent contract in the summer after an excellent loan spell last year. Goes out of play for a Rotherham throw. Not quite level with the edge of the penalty area, but not far from it. Peltier is the man who's going to hurl this in long. Might have heard a ripple of applause for the Sheffield Wednesday subs who are warming up a long way down below us. Long throw up towards a Hugill inside the penalty area, and it's swept clear by Byers, out of play. Rotherham United have themselves a corner. Aston Villa lead Luton by a 1-0 in the Premier League, and John McGinn has got that goal. Villa hoping for 12 straight home league wins in the Premier League. There'll be a corner then for Rotherham on the far side of the field as we look at it. Plenty forward as it's taken short to Lembikisa on the edge of the penalty area. Back to Thierry. Thierry drives in the cross. It wasn't a good one, headed away by the first man. It's come back to the near side now, and Bramall steaming down the left-hand channel. Now, was he fouled there by Patterson? He certainly looked like he was blocked off by Callum Patterson, but the referee said no. In the end, it's a Rotherham throw. On TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL. More than 120 commentaries this season, exclusive to national radio. Nobody does live football from the EFL bigger or better than we do. And we've got Coventry against West Brom in the Championship on Monday. Friday night, Leicester against Leeds. Tuesday night, the Women's Nations League. Wednesday, the Carabao Cup on the network. Still to come today, Gallagher Premiership Rugby. Newcastle Falcons against Northampton Saints once we're done here. And then live NFL. Long throw Peltier, left wing position for Rotherham. They're 2-0 down, into the box. Misjudged, could fall for Anya Dinma, could fall for the left boot inside the penalty area of Cafu, I think it was. In fact, it was Revan, the substitute, and he hammered it high over the top into the upper tier of the West Stand. That's easily Rotherham's best chance so far, and Revan has spurned it.
Yeah, he has, and I think obviously he's seeing through a lot of bodies, and I think he's trying to get enough on the strike to potentially get through the bodies, but by doing that it sails over the bar. But that's what I'm saying about Sheffield Wednesday, how they've got to be concentrated, because really that's something out of nothing for Rotherham. Could have quite easily gone in the back of the net and get them back in the game.
Sheffield Wednesday lead 2-0. Sprinting forward is Iorfa into opposition territory, shoots from the edge of the box, takes a deflection off Bramall and rolls behind for a corner at the Kop end. Iorfa on an inspired surge there from the halfway line, the centre half. He thought, why not have a go on Derby Day, and it's a corner.
Yeah, why not? I think it was Masaba though. He made a fantastic run, and if he can just be a bit clever and slip that little reverse ball in, Masaba's in front of goal, but you can't blame him for giving it a go.
What can Sheffield Wednesday do from the corner? It's going to be Windass to take it, right-footed and in swinging into the near post. Smith is in there on a hat-trick. It'll be blocked off by Morrison and hammered away by Jordan Hugill downfield. Up to the halfway line. One or two shouts from behind the goal for handball. Referee says play on. Nearly an hour gone. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. TalkSport with the Sunday session live right now. All the goals as they go in. Make sure you download the TalkSport app. Patterson's low ball in from the right wing position is gathered by Johansson. Sprawling save on the edge of his 6-yard line. And Michael Smith was never likely to get there. What a game he's had. He scored 21 goals for Sheffield Wednesday last year in all competitions. Prior to that, 25 in his final season as a Rotherham player. He knows how to get promoted from League One, does Michael Smith. Rotherham maybe just about starting to work their way into the game a little bit, but they haven't had an effort on target just yet. Here's Cafu, the number 7, threading it forward to the near side, and Bramall's cross gathered by a stretching Dawson. Nobody really challenging the goalkeeper inside his 6-yard area. And now Sheffield Wednesday on the counter with James far side the left, a long way from our commentary position. He's given it straight to Peltier. This is easily Rotherham's best spell of the game, Courtney Sweetman-Kerr.
It is, and it's just starting to get a bit stretched. That from James, there's an acknowledgement between himself and Masaba, but he doesn't need to play that ball. He can just keep it. They can recycle it, Sheffield Wednesday, and just take that little bit of pressure off and that momentum that Rotherham are building.
Sheffield Wednesday have had such a long wait for a league win. I suppose their last league victory in a sense was the playoff final win over Barnsley in May, just over 150 days ago. It's felt like a long time since Darren Moore's departure, the dreadful era of Xisco Munoz, who only won one game, and that was on penalties in the Carabao Cup That's Stockport County against Stockport County. Sheffield Wednesday desperate for that first championship win of this season. They're 2-0 up, but there's half an hour to go. Bannon's played it forward now to Windass, on to Smith. Smith on the edge of the penalty area, angle against him, shoots! Just wide of goal! Brilliant run by Smith, and a fine shot. Johansson will say he had it covered. It looked like for a second it was heading for the bottom corner, but it stays out. Still just 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, it does really well. Windass on the half turn, it's a good ball through, and Smith, the angle was against him, and you're thinking, can you find a teammate, can you pass it? But you know what, you're 2-0 up, you're on a hat-trick, why not give it a go? And I'll tell you what, it wasn't far away.
There's a Sheffield Wednesday player down at the moment. I think it is Windass who played that pass forward to Michael Smith, and he's being treated. They want to bring on Will Volks, a former Rotherham player, to Sheffield Wednesday very shortly. And Rotherham themselves are going to make a change, and it's Sam Klukas who's stripped and ready to go in red and white, and getting some final instructions from Matt Taylor. The hour mark, of course, a regular pivot point for changes in the game and substitutions. Remember, once the weekend's football is all done and dusted, you can join TalkSport Breakfast from 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. every weekday, for a recap of what's happened and a look ahead to the rest of the week. Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend with you tomorrow. Jeff Stelling joins our team from December. And on tomorrow's show, the England prop Joe Marler after the Rugby World Cup, and Carl Froch to reflect on all of the boxing drama this weekend that we brought you on Talk Sport. Now then, here come the changes for Rotherham. Cafu off, and here comes the former Stoke man Klukas. Most of his appearances for the club have come from the bench so far. I don't think Cafu knows that his number is up just yet. That
old trick, you look the other way and hope that you don't have to come off.
Well, you will eventually. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, a former number 7. As Cafu eventually does trudge off, doesn't look happy to leave the field.
Yeah, he's not impressed, is he?
What's the body language of the Rotherham players like, Courtney? Is it a happy camp? From what you can tell, it's never easy when you're down at the bottom.
No, I think the start was good, and then obviously Sheffield Wednesday really improved through the first half. Obviously scored the couple of goals, and I think they look quite dejected at the moment.
Well, Byers is going to leave the field here for Sheffield Wednesday, and he's going to get a standing ovation. Windass has been treated and will be able to come back on. So Byers replaced by the former Rotherham man Will Volks. Sheffield Wednesday will be temporarily down to 10 men for just a few moments. England 5 wickets down, chasing 230 against India at the Cricket World Cup. West Ham 0, Everton 1 in the Premier League. Aston Villa 1, Luton 0. Goalless Brighton against Fulham, and Liverpool against Nottingham Forest. Manchester United against Manchester City is at 3:30. That is live for you on Talk. They'll keep you updated on Talk Sport with all the very latest. Sunday session is live at the moment from Old Trafford, so you'll get the goals as they go in. We've got Newcastle Falcons against Northampton Saints to come on Talk Sport 2 once we're done here. And Sheffield Wednesday still waiting to get Windass back onto the field. The fourth official looks towards the referee, who finally gets the signal. Windass comes back on. Sheffield Wednesday restored to their full complement. 2-0 up, and they've got to manage the game now. This is the difficulty here for Sheffield Wednesday with the position that they're in. They haven't won a game for a long time. Sometimes as a footballer you forget how to win, Courtney.
Yeah, you do. It becomes a habit both ways. That's winning and losing, and make no mistake about it, if Rotherham somehow find a goal from somewhere, the nerves then set in, even though, for me, Sheffield Wednesday have been completely dominant for most of this game, but they are having a moment. You're never going to be in full control of the game for 90 minutes, and this is Rotherham's good spell at the moment. Peltier's
long throw into the penalty area, headed behind by Iorfa. With that little wristband on, and that's a corner to Rotherham United, their third of the game, in front of the Leppings Lane end, and those 3,000 plus away supporters. Sam Klukas, the flamehead Klukas, to swing that in high, left-footed. Goalkeeper gathers it very well. Dawson backpedaling, with Morrison looking to beat him to it. Good handling from Cameron Dawson. Brighton 1, Fulham 0 in the Premier League. Evan Ferguson has Brighton in front, winless in 3 in the Premier League coming into today, Roberto De Zerbi's side, but they lead against Fulham, who have struggled away from home. Long ball by Dawson downfield. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday against Rotherham here. Michael Smith on a hat-trick. On to Patterson, who tries to lob the goalkeeper from a long way out. It's wide, but the referee had spotted a foul on Bramall in the build-up anyway. And it's a free kick to Rotherham. The long-suffering Rotherham fans, Courtney, have had a lot of disappointment on the road in the last year. Matt Taylor trying to do something about that, of course, trying to change it, but they've been better in the second half, but not good enough ultimately so far.
Yeah, I think they've been more competitive, I would say, in terms of those 50-50s and set pieces causing a bit of chaos in the box. They've certainly looked more dangerous, but they've not really put a lot of passes together. Pattern of play been really dangerous, although Onyedinma was nearly in them. But again, that's from a set piece and just the battle, fighting to try and get something rather than creating something really clear cut.
Onyedinma stretching to reach a flick on downfield, but he couldn't quite reach it before it trickled through into the gloves of the Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper Cameron Dawson. And Sheffield Wednesday had possession, not created much in the second half, the home team, but they are sitting a little deeper as they try to hold on to their lead. Here's Volks, the number 4, middle of midfield, spins away from Ollie Rathbone. And now it's up towards Musaba. Musaba just shy of the halfway line, back to Volks. Sheffield Wednesday played some good football at times. Don't look like a team who've been rooted to the bottom of the Championship pretty much since the very start of the season. Their only points have come in 3 draws. Away at Leeds, at home to Middlesbrough, and at home to Huddersfield. Musaba inside left channel, getting in behind Morrison here. 2 waiting for the pullback in the middle. Musaba tried to go for goal on his own, beaten to it by a late slide tackle from Peltier before he could get the shot away. Another Sheffield Wednesday corner at the Kop end. They're 2-0 up on TalkSport 2, and we're now into the final quarter of the game.
Musaba does really well to bring this ball down. It's a ball that's difficult to control because it's coming over the back of his head, but gets down well and then tries to cut in, but it just gets away from him.
Corner's taken short to Bannon, back out wide to the taker Windass, floats it in high, headed away by Morrison. Diaby was up there, and then the thumping shot on the volley is just wide by Volks from the edge of the D. Thought about it against his old team, and former Rotherham players on the score sheet has been a theme of this derby today. Volks, it just bounced a couple of yards wide.
Yeah, and it comes out, it's very inviting, it holds up in the air for a while, it's looping and watching it all the way, Volks, and hits it well, but again, just a few yards wide of the post.
And the ball will be cleared downfield by the Rotherham goalkeeper, Victor Hansen. England continue to labour, chasing 230 against India at the Cricket World Cup. 5 wickets down, the last time we checked England. And it is a struggle. Updates throughout the day on TalkSport, as I say, on the Sunday session. The Manchester derby at 3:30, so an hour until kick-off at Old Trafford. The ball is with Sheffield Wednesday, and it's rattled off the shins of Peltier by Windass, and out of play for a Sheffield Wednesday throw just shy of the halfway line. All about managing the game now. They have a trip to Bristol City to come before a home game against Millwall. Rotherham will be relieved to be back at the New York Stadium for 2 games next. Queen's Park Rangers to come, and then a daunting game against Ipswich Town. Lembakissa's just slid in hard on Musaba, who was caught very late. Sheffield Wednesday bench not happy with the challenge. Sheffield Wednesday players hadn't seen it initially. In the end, James puts it out of play. Musaba's down and he's hurt here, Courtney.
Yeah, and it's, I'm glad we've not got VAR in play, I must admit, but if VAR is in play, that's going to get looked at very heavily, because Bramall, yes, initially he does win the ball, but the force that he goes in with and the follow through wasn't needed. For me, that's it should be a yellow card, absolute minimum.
And Rotherham are going to take the opportunity now to make a double change. Georgie Kelly, who is often a scorer of important goals, will take to the field. Off goes Christ Tiehi, and an attacking change. I think they are going to go back to a back 4 here, Rotherham United now, because Peltier is going off, and here comes the club record signing Sam Nombe, who is still to get off the mark for his new club. He knows Matt Taylor well from their days together at Exeter, and in fact Taylor's also taken off the 2 players who were on yellow cards in making those changes. Rotherham, just like Sheffield Wednesday, are not particularly prolific scorers. Brighton 1, Fulham 0, a latest score. Aston Villa 1, Luton 0. Everton lead at West Ham by a 1-0, and Everton looking to move 5 points clear of the relegation zone in the Premier League. Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 0 is a latest score. And in the Scottish Premiership, Kilmarnock winners over Aberdeen in the early kick-off, and Rangers against Hearts gets underway at 3. Musaba will be able to continue here, having received some treatment, and he walks across a little gingerly to the near side, but he'll be back on his feet, and Sheffield Wednesday will be back to their full complement of 11 in just a few moments' time. Still lovely sunshine north of the city of Sheffield, lots of sunshine on the crowd in the north stand, and just little flickers away to our left in Cameron Dawson's penalty area, the end towards which Rotherham are attacking in this second half. Less than 20 minutes to go now. Sheffield Wednesday have the ball back, and they have a goal kick, and they lead 2-0, and at the moment looking relatively comfortable, but as we know, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, one goal can change things pretty quickly. What have Rotherham done in terms of maybe a shift in shape since that double substitution?
Yeah, it looks like they've gone into a 4-3-1-2 to me. It might change a 4-4-2 out of possession, but just changing it up and trying to get back into the game. I think they initially changed formations to try and match Sheffield Wednesday up, but it just didn't work at all.
Long ball downfield for Sheffield Wednesday. The flick by Michael Smith. Windass through the middle, gathered by the goalkeeper, who was quick off his line. Windass was nearly in there for what would certainly be the clinching goal for Sheffield Wednesday. As it is, there's still a little bit of jeopardy in the game. Sheffield Wednesday readying another change shortly as Iorfa pokes the ball away in front of Georgie Kelly. The bald-headed substitute has come on. Georgie Kelly has scored a memorable clinching goal on the final day in 2022 to help secure Rotherham's promotion back to the Championship. Last year they survived. This year they're very much ensconced in a relegation battle again. They've played one fewer game than most of the sides around them, but if it stays like this, they'll still be 5 points from safety. Musaba's gone down again, and I don't think he's going to be able to continue here. In fact, they're getting John Buckley ready to come on, Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a shame because he's had a fantastic day, hasn't he? And as I mentioned earlier, I think he deserved the goal for his overall performance, but especially with how exciting and he's been today, it's best to get him off now if you can. Make sure that it's an injury that you can deal with in the week rather than making it worse and him being out for a number of games, and rightly so. He gets a standing ovation from Hillsborough. He's
arguably been the man of the match, Anthony Musaba, involved in the second goal, and whilst he wasn't on the score sheet himself, clearly a 22-year-old with great talent. And John Buckley, the young loanee from Blackburn Rovers, is going to take to the field here a like-for-like replacement. Hard work still the key for Sheffield Wednesday. The job is far from done yet. 2-0 up with just over a quarter of an hour remaining. And Sam Nombe has prevented the ball from going out of play for a goal kick here, but it will be a throw to Sheffield Wednesday in their right back position, and Callum Patterson just wasted away a few seconds there. He knew it was a throw, and yet he tried to tap it back to Dawson as though it was a goal kick. Eventually hoists the throw long, goes about 30 yards, and a miscue from Morrison, and Windass could dart forward here on the counter-attack. He's played it left to James in space, inside left channel, thinks about a shot through the middle towards Buckley, the newly arrived. The first touch is heavy, but Buckley then slides in to win it back very impressively indeed. Long legs to win it back, given away by Volks. It's come back to Revan for Rotherham. A long way from halfway. Revan trying to burst forward up into Sheffield Wednesday territory, but Patterson working very hard to track back and win it. Liverpool 2, Nottingham Forest 0 is the latest score. 2 quick goals for Liverpool, scored by Diogo Jota and Darwin Núñez. Liverpool haven't lost at Anfield to Nottingham Forest since 1969. So there have been goals in all 4 of the Premier League games so far today, ahead of the Manchester derby at 3:30. For the very latest, you'll be able to join Talk Sport. Make sure you use the Talk Sport app, and you can swipe between both stations at your leisure today, because we've got Gallagher Premiership Rugby from Newcastle once we're done here with Mike McCarthy and Andrew McKenna. Rotherham on the attack with Nombe, 2-0 down. They go backwards to Onyedinma, and now Lembakissa just inside Sheffield Wednesday territory. Square ball to Rathbone, back to the halfway line, and Morrison sweeping it to his left, and Bramall now playing in a central defensive position here. 15 minutes to go. Rotherham looking for options and impetus in attack, but nobody's really making those forward runs. In fact, that is an incisive pass from Rathbone. It's cut back by Revan, steered away by Iorfa at the near post and flicked further clear by Bannon. They dealt with that relatively calmly, Sheffield Wednesday. Windass, though, going back towards the dead ball line, gets a free kick after a foul by Bramall. And the Rotherham fans are really frustrated on their feet behind the goal.
Yeah, they are, and I think Nombe is as well, because it's not Nombe, who is it? Not sure who it is there. It's Hugo, and the fact that there should have been a cutback, Revan does really well. He gets into a good area, and then he just peels off Hugo as everyone's retreating back to the goal. He peels off to about 12 yards out. He's in acres of space, nobody round him, but Revan's not really looking and just blindly puts the ball in the box, and it's a shame because it would have been a really good opportunity for Rotherham.
It looks like Sheffield Wednesday are going to end the week with a long-awaited win, and you can start your week tomorrow on TalkSport. White and Jordan 10 till 1. They've got Martin Keown with them tomorrow. The Outspoken podcast is live every weekday. Had some great guests on both morning shows, White and Jordan and Breakfast this week. The likes of Emmanuel Adebayor, Paul Barber and Thomas Frank have all been on. Been as super listeners ever. Sheffield Wednesday have got a throw midway inside Rotherham territory, the north stand side of the ground. It's a lovely stand to look at, packed full of Sheffield Wednesday supporters. A couple of flags at the base of it. Bannon scoops it long, high up the middle, headed away by Bramall. Smith was nearly in there. Bouncing ball midway inside the Rotherham half, nudged on by Nombe to Kelly. Kelly on the burst, but he's blocked off by Volks. Sheffield Wednesday winning a lot of the second balls. Volks has conceded a free kick for that challenge on Kelly. But that, I guess that tells you all you need to know. It's been a really battling and in the circumstances, impressive Sheffield Wednesday performance. Yeah, it has, and we've seen both sides of it. In the first half, it was about them in possession and being inventive and dynamic, and now in the second half, they're having to battle, they're having to win their 1v1s with their player, and they're doing that really well, and it's quite interesting now, because Rotherham, they've gone to a 3-4-3, so the three of Lembakisa, Morrison and Bramall at the back, the four across the midfield. There's Hugo and Kelly up top with Nombe just behind. And Hugo's flicked the ball onto Nombe from a free kick inside the penalty area, but Nombe can't find a teammate from the edge of the 18-yard box, and it's swept away by Reece James. A lot of Sheffield Wednesday supporters have talked about playing players in the right positions, and in Reece James you've got a left back who's more than capable of playing in the right position today. That wasn't always the case under Zisco. And Barry Bannon's won a free kick. Used his experience there, Bannon just rolled his man Klukas. Bannon, one of the smallest players on the field, but you won't see too many more cultured players than him. Got his socks rolled down his shins now, Barry Bannon. He has been at Sheffield Wednesday for a long time. And maybe, just maybe, this could be the start of at least a run towards a slightly more respectable season for Sheffield Wednesday, even if they can't stay up. But who knows, at this point they'd still be Courtney a long way off safety. 8 points is a massive gap to make up, but maybe they'll go on a run now, who knows. Yeah, they would, and this is the Championship, it's always so tight, so you put a run of games together, especially because they always come thick and fast, weekend, midweek, most weeks. So if you can get some confidence, that momentum, and put a decent run together, you can shoot up the table. As we've mentioned, it's a big ask, but this is a really good start. And listening to TalkSport 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday it remains, and they're going to make another double change. Paul Valentin and JD Gassama are both ready to come on. Valentin, the Spaniard, for Patterson. That's a slightly more defensive option at right wing back for Sheffield Wednesday. And Patterson has been superb. The crowd are packed in around us here in the main stand, and most of them are getting to their feet to applaud. And the other change sees Windass go off. And I mentioned the French youth international, formerly of Paris Saint-Germain, JD Gassama, who is still looking for his first Sheffield Wednesday goal. But it's not so much about goals at this point, with 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go. It's about the work rate here for Sheffield Wednesday. And Valentin will take the throw. First league win it would be, at the 14th time of asking, the record for the most games without a win at the start of a second tier season. Ironically, Rotherham United in 04-05, they failed to win any of their first 20 league games, and unsurprisingly they were relegated. A throw to Sheffield Wednesday on halfway. Danny Röhl will be delighted, but it's not done yet. 29,038 here today. 3,000 of those Rotherham supporters We did say it was around 30,000 or so. Excellent crowd at Hillsborough. And Sheffield Wednesday with Valentine being tripped. And that's a free kick rolling around in front of Matt Taylor, who is a big centre-half in his playing days, and I don't think he's having any of that, Matt Taylor.
No, it was a tough one though, because he gets caught quite high. It's one of those where you get caught double, so initially it's on your foot, then as you go round he's got caught on the inside of the knee as well, so it will definitely be a sore one. But yeah, I think he's just taking his time. Added an extra roll in there just to try and add a few more seconds to the clock.
Bernard, Diaby and Iorfa are all forward for Sheffield Wednesday. Free kick near side, right in front of the Rotherham technical area, taken short by Volks. Gets it back from Bannon, nudges it onto the near side, and Buckley in field to Bannon again. Sheffield Wednesday keeping the ball well at times in this game and playing with good composure. They've gone direct when they've had to, and they've kept it when they've had to. He's done a lot of work clearly on the training ground, Danny Röhrl, in terms of shape as well off the ball. Iorfa's got such good pace, and he was dragged down there by Rathbone. He'd absolutely skinned him down that left-hand channel. It was Hugo with the foul. That's a yellow card. Free kick in a dangerous position for Sheffield Wednesday. 2-0 up.
Yeah, it was brilliant the way that Iorfa initially, he just drops his shoulder like he's going to go backwards and play the ball, but then that little quick change of direction and then the pace to go with it to get down that left-hand side, and Rathbone, that's the only thing he could do to stop him, bring him down.
West Ham 0, Everton 1, Aston Villa 1, Luton 0, Brighton 1, Fulham 0, Liverpool 2, Nottingham Forest 0. It's 2-0 here to Sheffield Wednesday against Rotherham. You're up to date in the Premier League and the EFL. On your home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. Bannon and Volks, the two options from the free kick. Midway inside the Rotherham half, about 7-8 yards from the corner of the penalty area. Would it be the right foot of Volks or the left foot of Bannon? Volks, the number 4, to whip it in high to the far post. It takes a bounce and drifts wide. Iorfa was lurking inside the 6-yard box but couldn't get the touch.
Yeah, it's a good ball in though, isn't it? It's whipped in, it's away from bodies, and Iorfa does well to try and get to it, but in the end it's defended well by Rotherham.
England 68 for 5. They're chasing 230 against India at the Cricket World Cup. England have been poor so far. Well, they started off even worse. I think they were 30 for 4 at one point. Back it goes to goalkeeper Johansson, who steers the ball high upfield for Rotherham, and a powerful header out of play from Volks, who's done his diligent work impressively since coming onto the field. And Rotherham heading for another away defeat. Only 7 league wins in the whole of 2023 for Rotherham United. 22 goals conceded in 8 away games so far this season. That does include 6 they let in at Stoke in the Carabao Cup. They've got a free kick on the halfway line. Does it feel like they really believe they can get back in it, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk?
No, not particularly, and I think as well Sheffield Wednesday are quite happy in the way this game's going. They're happy to scrap it out. Every time they look round they'll see a few more seconds go up on that clock, and it's going to be a lot to ask now for Rotherham, with what would be 6 minutes plus added to get back into this game.
Hansen, the goalkeeper's come forward to belt a free kick long from the halfway line. It's swerving right to left. It evaded Revan, and the offside flag was up. How on earth can you have players who are lining up for a free kick that's been taken from the halfway line, lining up on the edge of the box and offside in that position? Yeah,
it's terrible really, especially when it's the opposite side of, so you can see down the line as to where the defenders are. But looking down to our left now, some of the Rotherham fans making a swift exit, trying to beat the traffic. They've seen enough.
Yes, absolutely. Many of them don't want to stay. You can't really blame them. That away end is slowly thinning out. The vast majority have stayed as Dawson punts the ball clear long for Sheffield Wednesday from their free kick. High upfield where it's gathered by Johansson, the Rotherham goalkeeper. Johansson wants to urge his teammates forward, gesticulating to them to get up the pitch. Danny Röhrl's name was being chanted there by the Sheffield Wednesday fans. Long from Johansson, the goalkeeper. They've got Nombe up there, they've got Hugel up there. Hugel can't win the header. It's going to be brought down on the far side, the right by Onyedinma, but he's had it whipped off his toes by Volks, and James knocks the ball off the shins of the onrushing Klukas and out of play for a Sheffield Wednesday throw. Well, he'd love a first win, Danny Röhrl. That's the most important thing. A clean sheet to go with it would be absolutely perfect. Yeah,
definitely. I think teams are built on that defensive solidity. Obviously goals win games, but there's a confidence in keeping a clean sheet as well. So, you know, you got a couple of goals, the forwards and the midfielders are happy. If you keep a clean sheet, the defence is happy, so it's good news all round.
5 minutes plus stoppage time to go at Hillsborough on TalkSport 2. It does feel like the game is petering out here now. For the most part, it's been a frenetic derby and been played at a very exciting place, but ultimately Sheffield Wednesday look comfortable here. Half-time at Villa Park. Aston Villa lead Luton by a goal to nil, and likewise Brighton lead Fulham at the break in the Premier League. TalkSport, the Sunday session for all the goals as they go in once we're done here. And on TalkSport 2 you can listen to the rugby. Newcastle Falcons against Northampton Saints. We'll be going there straight after the final whistle, so make sure you stick with us on TalkSport 2 if you want the rugby, followed by the NFL. The ball is stabbed forward into opposition territory by Klukas, but intercepted, well retrieved by Bernard. Diaby back to the goalkeeper Dawson. Dawson smashes it long high first time, and Lembakissa will take a throw for Rotherham, who, there's no lack of effort from these Rotherham players, but the belief just seems to be gone. With 4 minutes to go, some of them look like they can't wait to get off the pitch.
Yeah, and I think even earlier than that, maybe with 15 minutes or so to go, I still had that same feeling with them. And at that point, if you get a goal, if you're 2-1 up, you can make it really nervy for Sheffield Wednesday, but I feel like these Rotherham players were just resigned to the loss.
I guess there'll be pressure on Matt Taylor. It was always going to be a difficult season, but if things just aren't working, and particularly away from home, this record, he just can't find the remedy for the away form that they've got, and the criticism will continue. Georgie Kelly's gone for goal from behind the halfway line, and it's wide, 10 yards wide or so. All sorts of ambition in terms of long-range efforts on the pitch today, and Georgie Kelly, that was within Harry Kane's sort of range. And Dawson would not have got there had it been on target. I think he was fairly confident, though, that it was going to drift wide.
Yeah, I think from early on, as he saw the trajectory of the shot, he realised it was going wide, Dawson. But why not for Georgie Kelly? It's been a frustrating afternoon for Rotherham. So if the chance, if the opportunity seizes itself, then why not have a go?
Gassama's in for Sheffield Wednesday, right hand edge of the penalty area, twisting, turning onto his left foot. Gassama thinks about a shot, lays it square instead, and it's intercepted by Lembakissa. And Onyedinma now charging forward before Barry Bannon could get there. Onyedinma, terrific pace beyond 2 and 3. He's run 50 yards here, Fred Onyedinma. Now he's drifting into a centre position. Lays it square to Rathbone. Rathbone from 25 yards. His touch was heavy. Had to poke it onto Revan. Back to Rathbone. Dead ball line. Cuts it back across. Blocked by Diaby. Last touch was off Rathbone. Goal kick. Well, maybe if Rotherham had attacked with that sort of purpose earlier in the game, they might have got something out of it, but in the end it's a goal kick. Still 2-0 Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, and it's a brilliant block in the end, and the Sheffield Wednesday defenders and goalkeeper there, Dawson, celebrating that like a goal, and rightly so. But what I did love is Valentin, he's gone up in the attack and he sprints back. He's got to be a good 80 yards to get himself back in position, and that shows how important this clean sheet is to Sheffield Wednesday. Half-time
at Anfield, Liverpool 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Manchester United and Manchester City at 3:30. In the Scottish Premiership, Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen, a full-time score from earlier. Rangers against Hearts at 3 o'clock, and Philippe Clement's side start the day 8 points behind Celtic. Klukas for Rotherham, midway inside his own half, out to the near side in a congested area where Revan was waiting in the left-back position. He's surrounded by blue and white shirts. Revan with a throw back to Bramall. Bramall scoops it long. The centre-half area has been a massive issue for Rotherham all season. They've had a lot of injuries in that area. Daniel Ayala, the new signing, only has just arrived at the club, so you can understand Matt Taylor putting him on the bench. And actually, if there is some mitigation for Matt Taylor, it's a really small squad that he's got.
Yeah, it is, but I think everyone's fighting those battles within the Championship in terms of, at the bottom end, that squad depth, that, the resources that they've got access to.
Well, Michael Smith has just been awarded the Man of the Match award, a tireless performance and the 2 goals. Do you agree with that one, Courtney?
Yeah, definitely. And it wasn't just his goals, the fact that you're seeing him now, he's defending the ball really well. And his hold-up play as well, everything into him. I think there was only one instance I remember that the ball's gone into him. It hasn't really stuck. So his all-round play, both in and out of possession today, has been fantastic.
You can see Chris Powell and Henrik Pedersen on the touchline as well, applauding Michael Smith. Their influence is going to have been really important in these first couple of weeks for the new boss, Danny Röhl. 4 minutes added. Sheffield Wednesday closing in on a first league win of the season. They've had to wait until late October. They're nearly there. 4 minutes to go. 2-0 up against Rotherham United. It may not quite have the fire and excitement of a Steel City derby, but to get one over your local rivals in the Championship wouldn't be a bad way to kickstart Sheffield Wednesday's season. It won't lift them off the bottom. They'll stay rooted to the bottom, but it's another step potentially closer to what would be an incredible escape. A throw for Rotherham, long into the penalty area from Onyedinma towards Kelly. With his back to goal is Nombe. He's headed it down. Revan on the half volley, strikes it just wide. Goalkeeper Dawson was plunging. It was a super strike from Sebastian Revan, and so close to his first Rotherham goal. That's as close as they come all afternoon.
Yeah, it wasn't far away, was it? It struck really well by Revan, and it had Dawson scrambling. I'm not he wasn't convinced that wasn't sneaking in the bottom left-hand corner, and neither was I, but luckily for Dawson, he can see it past the post.
Lots of Sheffield Wednesday fans heading out of the stadium now, I think confident that the job is done. Is the traffic that bad around here? You come here more often than me.
Yeah, it is, yeah, it really is.
Well, I'll be listening to TalkSport and TalkSport 2 in the car on the way home. Rugby here if you'd like that on TalkSport 2. Premier League goals as they go in on TalkSport. Just download the app and you'll be able to swipe between the two stations. Plus, of course, listen on AM, on DAB and via your smart speaker. Long ball by Klukas downfield for Rotherham. Kelly is chasing. Kelly's evaded the defender. He's been dragged down there by Bernard. Oh, the free kick's gone the other way. The assistant flagged, and he flagged in favour of Sheffield Wednesday.
That's an interesting one. Georgie Kelly is not happy about that.
2 minutes of the 4 have been played. The 4 added. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Rotherham 0. We've just heard Jordan Pickford's made a remarkable last-minute save at London Stadium. As far as we know, they're still playing. West Ham 0, Everton 1 is the latest score. Dominic Calvert-Lewin with the goal and Jordan Pickford preserving the lead. Very late on at London Stadium there. 90 seconds to go here. It will be a year without an away win for Rotherham United, and they'll only be 3 points ahead of Sheffield Wednesday. Rathbone midway inside his own half for Rotherham, over the halfway line, and Hugo's going to chase after this, but he's always going to be beaten for pace by Iorfa. Hugo, little touch in the back of Iorfa. Not much, but enough to send the defender to ground. Free kick Sheffield Wednesday. They're managing this game very well. I have to say, Courtney, they really do not look like a team that started the day without a win and bottom of the table. No,
they don't. I think both sides of it in terms of the goals, the confidence going forward, but we've seen both sides of the game, because in the second half they've been put under pressure to an extent. I'm not saying Rotherham have been fantastic by any stretch, but they've made it more competitive, and it could have quite easily happened. A lack of confidence, Sheffield Wednesday, they could have let Rotherham back into this game, but they haven't, and they've really stood up to the test, and it's a positive sign for them going into their next game against Bristol City.
Yellow card for goalkeeper Dawson for time wasting. We've nearly had the 4 added minutes though. Rotherham fans and Sheffield Wednesday fans continuing to head for the exits here. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday, and a Sheffield Wednesday throw, which is midway inside the Rotherham half. Matt Taylor stands on the edge of his technical area. His team have been deservedly beaten. It will be today. Scooped forward by Volks down the right hand side, headed away by Revan. Another looping header from Volks towards Smith. Great downward header to Buckley. Buckley edge of the D. Barry Bannon sizing one up, deflected, gathered by Johansson. That would have been the crowning glory, a captain's goal, but that's the full-time whistle, and Sheffield Wednesday have done it. Finally, a first league win of the new season. At the 14th attempt, Sheffield Wednesday have got over the line. It's a first victory too for the new manager Danny Röhl, the youngest boss in the English Football League. Is it the start of the greatest of great escapes in the Championship for Sheffield Wednesday? They reel in Queen's Park Rangers, they're reeling in Rotherham just above them too. 3 points now the gap between the two sides, 8 the gap between Sheffield Wednesday and Championship safety. A desperate day for Rotherham United, not only beaten by their local rivals, but they're now without an away win for an entire year. Michael Smith with 2 first-half goals against his former club. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Rotherham United 0, and in the end, Sheffield Wednesday thoroughly deserved their first league win over the season. Courtney Sweetman-Kerr.
Yeah, they did. I was mightily impressed. As I said earlier on in the season, I was here for the game against Sunderland, and it's night and day from what I've seen. They're aggressive, they were dynamic going forward, they're competing for every single ball. They looked inventive and had a bit of freedom going forward, and then in the second half, when Rotherham tried to put the pressure on, they competed extremely well. Didn't look phased and didn't look like a team that haven't won in 13, but of that 14th time of asking, they've got the 3 points, Joe.
Sheffield Wednesday 2-0 winners here. Danny Röhl's name rings around at Hillsborough. We've got live NFL to come for you later on TalkSport 2. But first, Gallagher Premiership Rugby kick-off just moments away. Newcastle Falcons against Northampton Saints. And we can join our TalkSport 2 commentary team of Mike McCarthy and first Andrew McKenna.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, welcome along to the northeast. You've been saying in Sheffield that you've managed to avoid the rain. We most certainly haven't. It's absolutely bucketing it down here at Kingston Park this afternoon. The Saints are with us and the Falcons are now making their way onto the pitch, or at least one of them are, because Adam Radwan is making his 100th appearance for the Falcons this afternoon, and he has been allowed to go out centre stage and take his spot, and now his team will come out and join him. His team, well, both of these two teams really would like a win this afternoon. They are the only two sides in the Gallagher Premiership this season who don't have wins yet. The Saints are in 9th, the Falcons are in 10th. Saints have 3 bonus points so far this season, 1 try bonus point, 2 losing bonus points to give them 3 on the table. Newcastle have 1 losing bonus point so far. So both would like to get some wins under their belts. The team news is that Newcastle make 4 changes from the side that was beaten at home to Gloucester 18-14 last week in even worse conditions than this. Mark Tampin, Sam Cross, Sam Stewart and Ewan Stevens all into the starting lineup as Murray McCallum, Freddie Lockwood, Hugh O'Sullivan drop down to the bench. Ben Stevenson is out of the 23 completely. Saints also make 4 changes from their last outing. A defeat to Bristol, Chunya Munga, Fraser Dingwall, George Forbank and George Hendy into the starting lineup for them. Alex Moon, Tom Litchfield are both out. Down to the bench, while Tommy Freeman and James Rahm both have ankle injuries, so are unable to take their places. So we are just underway on a pretty ordinary